And so I just said, if not now, when? And I might die tomorrow anyways. Like, it was really eye-opening to me that life is short and you never really know how long you have on this earth. And I haven't done this journey alone. I've had a wonderful team refine itself. We opened our doors in November of 2020. I think to become an entrepreneur, you can't do it just for money. You can't do it because you want to work less. You really have to have a reason as to why you want to do it that you can come back to, and then just know that it will be a journey. Like,
We're here. I'm excited because I get to chat with Courtney. She is a good friend. We met through the Entrepreneurs Organization, and she also has an amazing med spa. That's not the things that I want to talk to her about, though, because I'm sure you can go on Instagram and see all about how awesome her med spa is doing and before and after, and people look amazing. But really, like her journey from getting sick, having to navigate that, building a business, deciding whether or not she wanted to open a second location, having some personal storms, some friend storms that come, and how she's navigating it all as a woman, a mother, a business owner, a friend, and just a human being. So, Courtney, I'm so excited you're here.
thank you for having me. I'm
Yeah.
happy to be here and, hopefully can share some insight for other women that might be thinking about it, struggling with it, already in it, and by no means am I perfect and doing it 100% the best that it can be. So I'm here to shed light on the real deal of what it takes to do all those things.
Mhm. And I've had a lot of conversations, and nobody's doing it perfect.
Yeah.
Everyone's going it messy. Everyone ugly cries. That all happens. So let's start at the beginning, maybe.
Okay.
When did you even know that you were going to be an entrepreneur?
So I am a physician assistant by trade. I practiced in a medical dermatology practice with cosmetic as well for about 9.5 years. I met my husband in 2014, and he has been a really pivotal part in this role for me because, he is a lawyer by trade, but also is an entrepreneur and kind of a serial entrepreneur. His main other business is a temporary fencing company, but has done other businesses. And I think, growing up, like I wasn't aware of entrepreneurship. And I just was like, I want to go to school. I'm going to become a healthcare provider. And my dad actually was a dentist and owned his own practice. And my grandparents, or my grandfather and my uncle, but all of them had passed away either before I was born or my dad passed away when I was 13. So I really didn't like get exposure to that. And when I met James, I was like, wow, like he's doing it. He's got a successful law practice. He's got a successful business. He's got a home that he owns and he seems happy. And I think that was kind of my first taste of what entrepreneurship was. And then we started doing life just kind of happened. We got married in 2016. We had our first child 2017, or sorry, 2018. And then, kind of went down from full time to part time. And then my daughter was born. And about 13 days postpartum, I experienced a rare heart attack. I had two cardiac events called SCAD, spontaneous coronary artery dissection. And it really flipped my world upside down. Like, to this day, it still does in some ways. I was 35 and never had any health issues. I look back and I feel like I maybe missed some warning signs of like preeclampsia, like high blood pressure, headache, throbbing head after my daughter's birth, but just checked it up to, oh, I just had a baby. I'm exhausted, hormone. I wasn't advocating for myself. And then had these two events happen. Which essentially came to determine that I had a 4 centimeter dissection of my left anterior descending artery, which is your main artery. They call it the widowmaker. And the next day, a blood clot formed and narrowed that artery by about 90%. And that's actually what caused the heart attack. And, I didn't die. I never lost consciousness. But I did get hospitalized. I got, treated. I got a heart catheter. That's how they determined my diagnosis. And kind of just following that event who came to check on me, who cared, who were my saving graces. And at the time, my employer that I'd been with, and I worked in the same building on the same floor as the people who own the practice, I did not get a call, text, or email or anything, like even the 3 months afterwards. And it just was like, I believe in people. I think when you become a healthcare provider, you do it because you want to help people. Like you want relationships, you want to advocate for people's health, you want to educate them. And I think really not feeling valued and feeling validated and they really didn't care really shook me to my core. And then I went back to work. That was October of 19. I went back to work January of 20. And we actually had bought this beautiful building, kind of serendipitously as an investment property for James to office out of, right after my event happened. And then, went back to work, COVID hit. And, just kind of saw an opportunity. I was out of my non-compete due to COVID and had this beautiful space that we had some openings and just feeling really not valued in the way I wanted to feel at the job I had been at. And so I just said, if not now, when? And I might die tomorrow anyways. Like, it was really eye-opening to me that life is short and you never really know how long you have on this earth. And so, yeah, so I took the leap of faith and I opened up Refine Aesthetics. We are a boutique med spa downtown, mainly cosmetic. I still practice some medical, but mainly cosmetic. And I had some people that were also feeling unhappy that decided to follow me. So I feel like I haven't done this journey alone. I've had a wonderful team. My office operations manager, Ashley Gonzalez, has really been pivotal in the development of my company. And, I'm so grateful for her. And then I had other practitioners that wanted to come and have helped me to guide them and help guide me through this journey, because it's like I've kind of had to come from here and rise up, if you will. My roles really changed. So it's been a fun, wild ride. I do have 2 kids. They're now 4.5 and 6, and going on 8 years of marriage. And then Refine itself, we opened our doors in November of 2020. I took a few months just to quit my other job and travel with COVID. My husband could work remotely, and I interviewed a couple other places, and I was like, am I just going to be in the same boat of not feeling fully satisfied in 5 years if I go join another practice? And so that's really what was some of my resonating why I decided to take the plunge. It was just to say, I want to do this for myself. I'm going to work. I like working. So why not build it for myself? So, yeah.
I didn't realize that your dad died when you were 13.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's impacted my life greatly. I have 3 older sisters. I'm the youngest of 4 girls. So I have and my mother is amazing. I have a lot of strong women in my life. And, I think to lose a parent, to have older siblings, I think I've always been on the more mature side, and the things that I talked about and thought about were not what my peers were always thinking about. And then I think go through a major trauma like that kind of just forces you to grow up a little bit, and I don't think that made me realize how precious life was. I don't think at 13 I had that capacity, but as I've become an adult and experienced other traumas and that was triggering, I've done, and we can talk about that. I've done a lot of different types of therapy to work through mental health, depression, anxiety. I wouldn't say I've ever been suicidal, but even after my heart attack, those first few months and even years, some days you just think it would have been easier to not be here, and it makes me sad to say that out loud, but it's the truth. As having young children and starting a business and, almost dying yourself, sometimes it's really hard. And sometimes it is easier to think, oh gosh, I'd rather not be here. I'd rather give up. When I think that my children have been one of my, if not my main inspiration to keep going. My husband's always been supportive. And, just to keep, I feel like I have no other choice in a way. I've dug this hole and I'm going to keep going. I don't have a choice to give up at this point. I think it's, one thing that I had mentioned earlier is I think it's always it's important to remember when you go on this journey of entrepreneurship or to start a new business or a new project, and that doesn't even have to be a business, but a new project, a new avenue in life, is to kind of remember why you started it, write it down, because you're going to need those moments of where you don't have clarity to go back to of why you did make this choice, and to remind yourself. And that's okay if it changes over time too. But, I think it's important to kind of have that reminder that, I felt compelled. I felt like I had no other choice but to leave and to start my own thing. I felt that like no matter what, I was going to make it work with the naiveness that I did, like in a way you can do things, you don't know the things that you do now. Uh, and, we're 3.5 years in, and I would say we're profitable and successful and growing now. And it's been a journey.
And you have been killing it the last 3 years.
And I mean, like I said, yeah, not been alone.
I so admire your vulnerability, and entrepreneurship is hard. And we say at Organize to Scale that you can't organize and scale your business unless you organize and scale yourself. And I think so many times in our journeys of entrepreneurship or growth, we hit these brick walls. And the brick wall of a financial crisis, a health crisis, a relationship crisis. And those brick walls, in my experience, are almost the game changer moment.
Yeah.
Because it's when you decide, who am I going to be and what am I going to build? And when you almost died, when you had your
Cardiac event.
your cardiac event, you had that moment of, my life is going to be different going forward, and what do I want to do with it? I also had that moment when our mom died. Because I was like, if I only have 25 more years to live, what do I want to do with my life? And committing to that, writing it down and going back to it when you get depressed, when you have anxiety, when a deal goes south, when an employee quits, when your place gets robbed, when somebody steals your credit or wires money out of your, I mean, so many things happen.
Yeah.
And continuing to go on is like, is this a sign from the universe I should stop, or is this a sign that I should proceed? Like, how did you reconcile all of that inside yourself?
I've had about half those things that you just listed. We've had a burglary, my arm, we had employees quit, the burglary was scary. I ended up getting cash and money, but it still was like very stressful for a while. But, I think my own mentality, and I probably get this from my mother, is I feel like I'm a warrior. I have that like warrior heart. And I think just having trauma as a young child, and then like being the youngest, and like everyone else left too, like at the end of the day, like I was the only person at my house with my mom after age 13. Like my sisters were already gone. And I think in a way that I just feel like I'm a warrior, and like I can't give up. I have all these people relying on me. I have partner relying on me. I have employees relying on me. I have children relying on me. And so like, it's just not an option in my mind, even though there are days where I'm like, God, I would just love to give up, or I'm so envious of my friends that seem like they just have less stress, even though I know everyone has stress. Mothers that stay at home have stress, like it's not that it's easier one way or the other. But I just feel like this is the path that I'm going on, and I have to keep going, because like I can't fail myself. I can't fail these people, and that kind of carried me through, like that one foot in front of the other kind of thing.
I feel like any times that I have thought to myself, like, would it be easier to quit? Or I always have this sense that my soul would die. Like, I would be sacrificing everything that is meaningful to me for temporary relief.
Yeah.
And in the long run, I know I'll probably regret that.
Yeah.
So the courage to keep going and anchoring into your why is so powerful. But you also have demons, like you talked about depression, anxiety. And how did you attack those things when you were wounded?
I have well, so right after my daughter was born and when COVID hit and I stopped breastfeeding, I did get on the medication. I got on Lexapro, which carried me through, I think, a period of time. I think, I have done talk therapy a lot. And then when COVID hit, like, I just need something because the world is upside down right now. And I think a lot of people experience that.
Mhm.
I did get off that medication. I did some personal therapy. I did some EMDR. My husband and I did some couples counseling. I do think me starting my business was a little hard, especially in the beginning on our marriage. I think I not only moved into the same building that he was officing out of, that I feel like I took not momentum, but maybe attention. James was the entrepreneur. James was the building something, and I was just kind of like the steady worker.
Mm.
And, I think he struggled a little bit with that in the beginning, even though he was always been supportive. And then me just what I didn't realize when I started this journey was that not only was it like the physical, like you're going to put your time into things, it's like the mental that I'm constantly always thinking about it.
Mm.
And I'm better now. I think now that we're 3 years in and things are a little more established, like I'm not going to bed at night every night. Like I started a regimen of like, okay, I'm going to turn my phone off at 9 o'clock. I'm not looking at my phone again. I don't care who's texting me, unless they call twice and then it rings through, like I silence it. And then, so just little practices like that. And then I will tell you that I ended up doing some IV ketamine therapy with
Oh.
therapy. So that I think just having so much trauma, heart attack, a lot of other things happened. I split my face open. I broke my arm. I had a benign tumor in my right parotid gland. My daughter got bit by a dog in the face. We had a burglary, like trauma, 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 trauma. And I just felt like I couldn't bring my anxiety level down. With
Understandably,
Yeah,
like you were
comfortness and
right.
trying to build something and create something. And so I ended up seeking out a clinic here in Austin and did it with a therapist. I've done 8 sessions overall over a period of a year and a half, but kind of did like 6 sessions initially. And, for anyone that's questioning or really struggling with mental health, like I do think there's a chemical like neurotransmitter thing for a lot of people. And it was by far the most powerful thing I've done to help my mental, like my mental clarity, my mental anxiety, just to kind of like bring it down a level. I've kind of done 2 sessions since that initial, kind of about 6 months apart. And, I think I'm 8 months out now from my last one. And so feeling pretty good, but it's nice to know that like there's something there that has worked for me.
Mm.
If I feel like I go to that dark place again,
Yeah.
if it makes sense.
What have you learned about yourself through the last 4 years of creating the business and scaling it? What have you learned about you as a leader and maybe even a wife? Like, 'cause you've had
Um,
to go through a lot of changes.
I think there's a couple things there, that I can be a leader if called to be. I don't think I'm the personality that I have to be in charge, but I think if I need to be, I can be. I have I think believing in yourself, having the capacity to believe in yourself and doing it. I think so many people question like, could I do it? Should I do it? Like, and I think just believing that you can is really important. Um, Being creative. I think I've always thought of myself. I think medicine is creative in its own right, but I think when you become a business leader and starting something, like it's really like, what do you want your vision to be and how do you execute that? And I think people is one of my better skills. And so I think finding the people that help to fill in the gaps that I'm not good at. But I have enjoyed the creative aspect of it, whether it's social media, website, marketing, new procedures. Like I get to figure out what procedures we want to bring on. Like there's a lot of creativeness that you get to do with that. And I think feeling creative has always been a struggle for me. I've never been an artist. in the sense that I like drew or colored things beautifully. And so it's been fun to be creative in another realm.
I think that's so cool because I've been on a similar journey. I think in my business life, I tend to be more system oriented, which
Mhm.
is more structured and scope and sequence and input output. And that tend to be a little bit more logical and less creative. Yet, and the visionary role I'm in, it requires more creativity. And when I like take off the burden of having to be structured,
Yeah.
just let myself be creative, people around me joke. They're like, wow, you can really use your imagination.
Yeah.
No, I can. And I actually like it this better because it's like fun and flowing and easy and not so rigid.
Yeah.
You experience that too?
Yeah. Like it's definitely kind of opens up another realm to your own brain and to your own heart, and I feel like this world is very, at least the world that I've lived in, is very like structured, like medicine. This is what it is. This is what science proves. This is what you should do. And so I think stepping out of being a healthcare provider and stepping into the role of like being an entrepreneur, a leader, a woman, like you said, like a wife, like these are all, I'm evolving into all these roles. I've never been a wife before. I've never been a mother before. I've never been an entrepreneur. And so there's opportunity, even though it's hard, there's a lot of opportunity. And so I think that's really fun to explore and there's things that don't work out and there's lots of things that do. And so it's just kind of like testing the waters and joining EO has been really fun and like meeting other entrepreneurs and hearing their stories and then what the creativeness that they bring gives you ideas and you're like, oh, they did this. I could do this. I could, and like mix it into your own world a little bit. And so like it's been super fun, and I've really enjoyed identifying with it.
So from you and James' perspective, like from a marriage perspective, because when you got married, you had one of you that James was the entrepreneur and
Mhm.
you were the stabilizer.
Yeah.
I think you used that word. And then you have two people that are entrepreneurs
Yeah.
and then no stabilizer.
Yeah.
So
How do we do that? Gracefully, not always perfect. I will say, I feel like in a way, James is he's 7 years older than me and I think he's 14, maybe 16 years now into his like entrepreneurship journey. So he's a lot further along. And so I feel like he did give me the space to kind of do what I needed to do. Like I said, we did do some couples counseling. I think just not only just business, but like two children, like kids are hard. Kids are by far one of the hardest, most beautiful things that I've navigated and am navigating. But I think that it's really that give and take and trying to be organized in your communication. I think communication is key, so we have like a shared calendar. I do feel like sometimes we're more ships passing in the night than I would like to be. But I think it's just prioritizing, like, we have a date next Wednesday. We're planning our summer vacations and like just knowing that we have those moments coming up together. And then I feel like we both try to not do too much during the week since we both do work during the day or nothing with each other. Like the night times are our time. And then like the weekend, like, yes, we do have our own personal business things, but like we really try to prioritize family and that I think been key for us.
I think, yeah, and it sounds like what you guys have is like together goals
Yeah.
and things that you're working towards together because I feel like if you don't as entrepreneurs, and especially two entrepreneurs, then your businesses become those things and it's very easy to get disconnected.
Yes. I think so. My son, I mentioned this earlier, but, I do feel like the past maybe 6, 8 months, like I have taken my foot off the pedal a little bit. I think with my son going to kindergarten and seeing now he's graduating kindergarten on Friday, like just seeing how quickly that has gone by and some advice that my sisters, my older two sisters who have older children gave me when I first had my kids. It's like, I know you want to stay at home right now, but like keep working hard now because your kids are really going to need you later. They need you now, but not in the same way.
Mhm.
Of like helping them navigate the world in a way. So I'm really grateful for that advice because I feel like I decided to start my business with a 6-month-old and a 2-year-old. And sometimes I look back at that and I'm like, so crazy. Like I wasn't sleeping. We had 2 older dogs at the time too that have now passed. And I think just realizing that life is really precious and that at the end of the day, my family is my number one priority. Like, yes, I want to have a successful business. And yes, I would like to have freedom and make money and feel fulfilled. Like all these are goals for, I think, us as individuals and as a family. But I think raising happy, healthy children that allow me to also be happy and healthy is my top priority.
Mhm.
So it's just a balancing act of like, have I spent enough time with my kids? Are we having any issues with them that I should be aware of? And so far, luckily, nothing major yet. They're not that old, but but just it's like dealing with the things as they come, but prioritizing like the time that I have and just being really intentional with when we get off the bus, like I'm not on my phone. We try to cook dinner together most nights of the week. I turn I'll check my phone periodically, but I turn my phone off at 9 o'clock. That was actually something that really helped my marriage.
Mm.
'Cause I feel like I would get like, that's when my kids are down. I can get on the phone. I can be on my social media. I can shop online. I can do whatever I need to. And he would always be like, I haven't seen you all day. Like you've given yourself to everyone else except for me. And, I didn't like the way that sounded. And that's not fair
Mm.
to him or us as a
Mm.
couple. And so, I'm not perfect at it, but we both really try to like, okay, it's 9 o'clock, like it's our time, even if it's an hour,
Mhm.
even if it's 30 minutes, it's our time. And just being really intentional with that.
How do you keep your tank full so that you can show up for your company, you can show up for your kids, you can show up for your spouse, you can show up for your friends and have something in the tank?
I know. Um, I actually am energized by people. So
Mm.
I think that's not super draining to me to like be around people all day long and interact with people. And I do exercise. I think for me, I try to at least do 3 days a week. I feel like prior to kids in business, I did like 5, but I try to do like really good 3 days a week at least, if not 4. Exercising and that mostly is outside. I do work out with a trainer, but it's outside. And then I try to go to town lake. I do occasional classes, but so I think having my own like mental like exercise time helps me from a stress level. And then the older I get, the more time I do need to step back and say no to things because I think there's just so many other things going on in my world, but people do fill me up. So even if
Mhm.
I have a minute of downtime, I'm like, oh, I haven't talked to that person in a while. Like, let me call them, let me check up with them. And so I think, you know, connection with people, whether it's a patient, an employee, a friend, does give me energy and inspiration.
And are you okay? So this is maybe a little bit deeper on the people side. Do you have people that you feel like you give to, but they don't necessarily recharge you? And then you have people that you give to and they recharge you? Or is just people to you?
No, I do. And I think the older I've gotten, I'm 39 now. The older I've gotten, the more I'm identifying the people that I want to give time to that do fill me up as well versus like the casual person that just wants to grab a drink or whatever. I have a few people that I feel like have been wanting to hang out and it's not that I don't want to, but it's like I don't even have time to do that in my life right now. And it's sad. And I don't want to say that we might not ever connect in the way that they want to connect, but like I have to I have to prioritize, and you
Mhm.
have to make sure that you're okay, your family's okay. And then you want relationships. Relationships are huge to me, but I do feel like I've said no more often the past maybe 2 years than I have before because of that reason. And
Have
I
you
also don't like drink and party as much as I used to. And I think that's really and I think it's getting older. It doesn't
Yes.
well physically with me, but like just like you said, like having a
Mhm.
full to give to the people that you want to give it to, like I just couldn't burn it at both ends in the same way I used to when I was younger.
Yeah. I agree. My body's the same way. I'm like, 1 glass of wine and I'm like, "Okay, I can't do this anymore."
Yeah. Or I just know like the next day I set time for a nap or some downtime because I'm not gonna feel 100%, So
Right.
it's like not doing it as often. And when you want to let loose and let go and relax and party, like just prioritizing that time. So it's not
Mhm.
as it used to be.
Would you consider yourself, maybe not in your current state, but most of your previous life, would you have considered yourself more of a people pleaser?
Yeah, I guess so. I think being the youngest, I always like just wanted everyone to be happy and like I think my older two sisters sometimes had drama, and I always tried to be kind of the peacemaker. And then being a healthcare provider, like you're trying to hear what the problem is and help people solve that problem. And in a way, especially with derm, I feel like you're like almost like a therapist.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would say, and I probably still am. Like I think one of my struggles, being an entrepreneur, is like the boss aspect of it. Like I love the vision. I love the cooperation and the corroboration that you get with, like, all these different people, but, like, sometimes, like, saying, "Hey, like, this is not right," or "I need you to do this," and, like, sitting down and kind of putting on that boss hat, I do struggle with that, and I some days don't like it, that's one aspect of my job that I'm like, I don't like telling these people that I worked with for 12 years that, like, they're not doing their job right. So I do
Yeah. Right.
struggle,
Mhm.
with, I think, feeling like I wanna please people, but also,
Mhm.
like, having these other financial responsibilities that I have to fulfill,
Mhm.
and that, that's one of my leadership struggles that I'm working on.
Yeah, it's like the balance of when to prioritize the person,
Mhm.
but also have accountability, and that struggle is hard, especially from a people-pleasing background, which I empathize with. I asked it because I feel like
Yeah,
there's um a lot of people get into entrepreneurship because they care about people. They're solving a problem or a pain point, and even probably more so in the medical space. But you care about people. You want to solve the problem. You want it to work for them. You want their life to be better, their health to be better, their portfolio to be better. And sometimes it's easy to do that at the expense of what we know is a healthy boundary or better for them long term.
yeah,
And I feel like you said you're very humble because the thing about leadership is prioritizing people, and it is understanding human psychology, and it's understanding what gets them to do the things that they do, and you do it naturally because you care.
yeah,
And but then when we do it at the expense of ourselves and we grow to resent our team, resent our company, resent our spouse, resent our kids, resent our what we've created and worked so hard for, that can be frustrating, and a lot of people do that.
yeah,
How do you guard yourself against that?
yeah. I'm working on it.
Mm,
I think because I was, like, at the same level of a lot of the people that I currently work with, just more in my business, like, now I've kind of had to step up and be the leader, and I think there's been a big transition for both of us or all of
mhm,
us, that's kind of a team, and I think some people have had easier time. I try to be I think one of the other reasons why I left was, like, not only sorry, well, the previous job was not only my own event, but that, like, once I went back to work and already kinda had that little chip on my shoulder, like, I just looked around and, like, so many people were unhappy internally and just not feeling satisfied and valued, and so that's been one of my other, like, tiers of my culture is I want people to feel like they have a voice. I want people to feel like they have some freedom, and I always try to ask people, we try to do like really realistically probably every 6 months. And then we have like big annual reviews. We have monthly meetings, quarterly out of the office meetings, and like try to meet with people individuals. So like there's space for them to come to me or Ashley, my right-hand man, with, like, ideas and things that we're not doing well or where they see gaps and, issues going on, and so I think having a space for them makes me feel good because I don't know there's a problem until they tell me, unless
mhm,
I feel a problem myself. But the leadership and stepping up is challenging for me, but at the end of the day, you need to have your business succeed or no one has a job.
mhm,
And I think trying to be transparent in a lot of things that I didn't have at my last job. So having some transparency, I feel like is fair. I try to let my people have some freedom in their schedule. I try to let them know how valuable they are with events that we do and just give back, and say thank you. We try to celebrate people's birthday. We're small enough to do that still.
Mm.
And then like, how do you grow and translate that into a bigger scale if we ever decide to have that? So core values, coming back to just we're all human. Let's have a conversation, and really trying to be transparent and like, I need you to do this because if you don't do this, this is what will happen. If you don't show up for work, at the end of the day, it affects bottom line revenue. And at the end of the day, if we don't have revenue coming in the door and successful, happy patients, we're not going to have a job. And so I think just reminding people that they actually do matter here. You're not just a cog in the wheel. You're a pivotal part in what we're creating. So that's kind of been, I think, since we are small, the blessing that I can offer those things.
Yeah, I think people like to know where they show up in the relay race or in the assembly line. Like having context makes them feel like they're contributing to the bigger win that we're all striving for.
Yeah.
And I know in my business, and we briefly talked about this, but when you get to a point where you feel like, I don't think I want to have pedal to the metal, all gas, no brake, go, go, go. And you still want to inspire your team and motivate your team and create some target, yet you may want to coast for a little bit. Like, I know you're going through this right now, and I don't think you have to scale just to scale. Like, it has to be aligned. How do you navigate all of that internally? I know for me, like, sometimes it's like, no, I'm not allowed to take my foot off the gas. So even the permission to do that, but then also to still have it be an inspiring culture.
Yeah. I struggle sometimes with it. I think that I try to not put it all on me, right? Like try to find right people for right positions. And so like, yes, I am the leader, but I do have some amazing people that are also leaders in my space. And so when you're kind of down, my assistant Ashley and I have worked together for over 10 years now. And so like she knows me really well. She knows I'm a little crazy, I'm a little moody, I'm a little, me. And I think that she kind of sees like if I'm not feeling 100%, or I need a minute, like she can step up and really do that. So I do think it's important to have a partner of some sort, whether it's in your business or outside your business, because we all need other people. I cannot carry this load alone. And so I think that's one of the things. And then I do verbalize, and I struggle with how much transparency in my business I should give, but I do try to verbalize like, I don't know what my goals are 100%. I know what I wanted to leave and create. I know what I want for the space, and I want what I want patients, staff to feel. But like, is the goal to have multiple locations and sell to private equity and cash out in 5 years? Or is it to have more of a lifestyle business of like, I'm making decent money, I work, the hours I want to work, and I get fulfilled because I get to see the clients that I love and know and my staff that I love and know. So I do go back and forth, some days, some weeks I'm like, okay, we're going to like scale this. And I have friends that are in the industry that are so inspiring to me that are also moms and scaling and, maybe going to sell their businesses for multi-million dollars. And then I have pieces of me that's like, I'm actually like pretty content right here. Like, some people say more money, more problems. And money is a factor. I don't want to say that money is not, present. It's not something that we think about every day, and because it allows us to have the life that we want. But it's not my driving factor right now. I think my driving factor was like more of like, okay, I want to build something for myself, and I want my staff and my patients that like Austin needs, because it wasn't where I was. And now I'm trying to navigate like, where are we headed 100%? I struggle. I go back and forth. Some weeks I have energy,
Yeah. And I think that's also normal for women. Like we have a cycle, we're a chemical factory every month. Like some weeks of the month, we're like, we are going to conquer the world. The other week, we're like, please don't talk at me. Don't look at me.
Yeah.
That's human, or it's women.
Yes, I know. Being a woman for sure. And I think the older I've gotten, the more I actually saw my OB Jen yesterday for my annual, and I was telling her about changes I've noticed over the past 2 years. Like, yeah, they're probably going to continue to get worse. And I was like, right, right. Like more PMSy,
Yeah.
heavier, well, all these things. And so, I think just this is life. I'm lucky to be here. More positive attitude, positive outlook. And hopefully we'll just continue to grow and be organic in our growth. That's also, I think, living in the world we live in now, like people are so used to that, like fast and instant and get it now. And like, yes, that's very satisfying. But at the end of the day, like I'm trying to build a sustainable business and not one brick at a time.
Mhm.
And I think just almost stepping back and realizing it doesn't have to be a race.
Mhm.
That for me anyways, I have an established business now. I can kind of slow down and make sure things are like functioning better. It's not such a sacrifice anymore, it feels like. And when I started this, a lot of people told me they're like, it takes 3 to 5 years. It takes 3 to 5 years. And so I'm like, okay, if I can get to year 3, I can do this.
Mhm.
And we did, and we have. And there's been ups and downs, and there's gonna continue to be. But I feel like, okay, like this is alive and I'm still alive and my family is still alive. Like we're all, my husband and I are still together. My kids are healthy and happy. And like, I feel like I can breathe for a second. So
Mhm.
we'll see in the next months, years, like, do I put my foot back on the gas and really try to scale, or we'll see, you know?
Mhm. That is the adventure, and it's a fun one because you
Yeah.
get to figure it out as you go.
Yeah.
Huh.
Empower people. I think you had kind of said, like, I think I work with all women. And that's not by choice. That's just kind of what happened. I would love to work with men too, but just being in the aesthetic space, I think it's majority women that we're treating and that want to work in our industry in the space that I'm in. And it's really fun to empower them, to like last week, I took 3 of my girls to a gala that was like the Austin Women's Business Magazine. And, we just heard these such inspirational stories. And I'm like, I feel so lucky that I have this opportunity and I can bring my amazing team with me to like hear all these things because, they're on the journey with me too. And like you said, like women are rock stars. I think that's why we bear the children. That's why we're here and our bodies can take it. And, I think if you ask people to rise to the occasion, a lot of times they will and they can. And then by, giving them inspiration, empowering them, I think has also been one of my successors and successful things in my business. So,
I love that you just said that. If you ask people to rise to the occasion, they usually can and will.
yeah.
And I think sometimes I've watched entrepreneurs not ask, just not ask because they're stuck in the if anyone's going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it better than anyone else. In their trap. That's not a scalable mind.
Yeah.
But my experience has been the exact same. If you ask somebody, give them a target, give them an outcome, ask them, and then support them in stepping up, they usually will. If not,
I am not a micromanager. I just don't have that capacity. And so in a way, I do think it's a blessing from an entrepreneurial thing because I've heard someone say they're like, I can delegate it if they can do it 80% of what I can do. And I do think to build and scale, you have to kind of have that mentality because you can't do it all on your own. I can't do that. The marketing, seeing patients, bringing in revenue, ordering, making sure that we have stocked things. Like yeah, I've tried to build a team that in a system that, okay, if they can do it 80% of what I can do, 85% of what I can do, like they can do it. And maybe there's checks and balances to make sure things that are, you know, getting done the way you want them done. But I think to grow and scale, you have to delegate and you have to have a team personally in my business at least.
I think most scalable businesses need names and systems. Otherwise, you're going to lose your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Also, having an Ashley, like someone that you can trust, that you have deep historical trust with, not just like you hired them off the street and they're your right hand person. Like you built a history of encountering problems and obstacles and plot twists and navigated it together. And when you have that dynamic duo, navigating all of it is so much easier.
Yes. And I feel like we have different skill sets. She is like good at tech stuff. She's an organizer. Like she's like my yin to my yang. And so I think finding a partner, like that's just key. Because you're not going to be good at everything. No one is. And the things that I struggle at, she really knows that and steps up. So yeah, I mean, that, like I said, I think we have done as well as we have because of the team that I have, and feel very blessed and that they decided to take the leap of faith. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, you guys are crazy. They threw me like, we started off the building that we're in with, we only had 3 patient rooms. We only took up half the building and there's 3 providers. And, I'm like, what y'all were thinking. But I think everyone was just like, believed in me and believed in the vision and also were willing to take the leap of faith. And I think I've kept my main core, but the people that we've had quit, it's never been a bad situation. It was life things that came up or children or schedule. So I just feel really blessed that I think I'm doing a decent job leading these people, but at the end of the day, like they've really helped build what we have today too.
What would you say your definition of success is?
I think success, there's so many different ways to look at that, but I think success is having personal goals in this life that we're talking about, of having personal goals through your business, through your family, and then trying to achieve them. You might not always achieve them, but like at least trying, at least allowing yourself the gift to try. Because there are things that I have failed at, and definitely. And in a way, like you said, like it's like the things that are hard that you learn from and that you go through, they don't have to be what define you, but they'll help you to get where you want to be defined. And so I think just for me, I'm a goal-oriented person. And so that, I want my children to be happy. So how can I achieve that? I want my marriage to work. How can I achieve that? I want my business to work, and maybe whether it's a revenue number or profitability number or a location number, like how do I achieve these things? So that's kind of, I think for me, it's like putting goals out in the world and verbalizing them and then working on that and trying to achieve it.
Progress towards a worthwhile goal.
Yeah, progress, whether it's, it might be like this, but
it really is.
Well, it's still there. So, yeah, that's been kind of my thing.
What projects are you working on right now that you're most excited about?
Well, personally, my son is graduating kindergarten, and then my daughter, it's her last year before going to kindergarten. So just really living it up this summer. We've got a lot of, I love travel. So I love culture. I love travel. So we've got a lot of vacation coming up. And it's actually our slow season in aesthetics. Like we don't do as many lasers in the summer in Texas. Our clients are traveling themselves. So it's like a good time to kind of go on. Other things related to my business, my social media girl is leaving. So we've been interviewing and finding a new person for that. And as sad as I am that she's leaving, she's going to grad school. I'm excited for the new opportunity. So like, okay, like people always bring new things to the table, the person that we decide to go with, a firm or a person, like what ideas are they going to have? And so just like marketing stuff, it's definitely a current project and a huge thing that I'm still learning a ton about. And then, yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm just excited about summer.
Being present for the whole summer. That sounds like a worthwhile goal.
Yeah. That's it. Work hard, play hard. I put in the hard work now so that I can enjoy these leisure moments. Hopefully we're taking a 2-week vacation, and James and I are going to get to go on a vacation together. My mom will watch the kids. So just, enjoy the fruits of your labor.
I think that's one of the things that as entrepreneurs, we tend to forget to do in the climb is celebrate.
Yes. And, the other advice I would say, just something I was thinking about kind of coming into this podcast, is I think to become an entrepreneur, you can't do it just for money. You can't do it because you want to work less. You really have to have a reason as to why you want to do it that you can come back to, and then just know that it will be a journey. Like especially in the beginning, I worked way more than I was paying myself less. And this was for years, and I think we're at a better place now. I feel like I'm not waking up at 2 a.m., getting up and doing emails because my brain can't stop working on it. Like, I feel like, but just know that like it will take a lot of hard work to get there, but it is very satisfying. And the things that I've enjoyed most about entrepreneurship is not only the women and like the broadening of my own mind in a way that I had never thought was possible. And then the freedom that it allows you, like the freedom to yes, I work very hard and I work at all hours, but I also can get done at 2 if I need to get my son off the bus early or, so it's been really fun, having that freedom in my schedule that I never really had before.
Mhm. You're amazing. And I am so sad that you had a crisis event. And I'm also really grateful because then it really connected you to your why
Yeah.
at such a deeper level. And whether you built the business or not really wouldn't have mattered, but you did find your truth in the crisis that created the why that inspired so much. And now you do have a thriving business and you have a team of people that are as crazy as you that want to scale with you or pause or create or and that is the journey. And if you define success about having a goal and pursuing it, you're already successful. You achieve anything else or not.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good way to look at it. I'm really proud of myself. And like you said, I do think we all need to step back and just look at the things that we personally achieved. It's nice. It's nice to remind yourself of, wow, I have built this and I have actually done this. And some days I don't even know how, but I have, but I appreciate that.
Yeah. If people want to connect with you, where can they find you?
Yes. So my business is called Refine Aesthetics. We are at refineaesthetics.com, and that is refine. And then aesthetics is AESTHETICS. And then on social media, we're at Refine Aesthetics ATF. And then anyone can always book online. We do consultations, but they also can email the office at refineaesthetics.com. Both Ashley and I do that email. And yeah, we're open downtown Austin. So come check us out.
So for everyone who's listening who is in Texas or Austin, definitely go check it out and go check out her before and after photos and everything she's doing on social media and maybe even just follow to see the before and after between this social media girl and the next one because there's going to be probably so much growth and excitement.
I think in this industry, what I love most, and we didn't even really talk about what we actually do because I feel like this was more about like the journey, but it's really fun to make particularly women, but everyone just feel better about themselves. I think at the end of the day, like why we are practitioners is because we want everyone to feel beautiful and feel positive and feel good. And so that's like one of our internal missions, like good vibes, positivity. And we want people to come and feel like they either got answers, they got treatments that were efficacious and safe, and that they just walk out feeling better about themselves, more confident. And, that takes different modalities for different people. And I'm really, if you're struggling with that and unsure, if there's a lot of things in this industry and you're unsure about how to navigate, like let us know. We are here to educate and make you hopefully feel refined. The simple is feel refined.
Yes. Minor simple adjustment.
Yes. So awesome.
But thank you so much for being on. And everyone who's listening, go check out Courtney on Refine Aesthetics online. We'll link everything in the show notes. And remember that as you're building and scaling your businesses, and I think Courtney's a perfect example of this, is that you can stay rooted and get shit done, build a business and a beautiful life at the same time. And you just need good people and good systems. So we are rooting for you all. And when you listen to this, if there's any clip that you like, just tag us both and share it. We'd love to know what resonated with you. We're always rooting for you guys. Cheers.
Thank you.